It's in its 16th year globally and its 10th year in the UK. This is the first stop of 12 countries this year, and it's reached over more than 1 million young drivers around the world. So, why Ford DSFL? A bit of a Q&A for a Sunday afternoon. What is the biggest cause of death among teenagers in Europe? What do we think? Drinking? Phones? Well, as a whole, car crashes are the single greatest killer of 15 to 24-year-olds. If we narrow that down, what are the biggest causes of accidents of young drivers in Europe, do you think? Texting? Speeding? Drifting? What's it drift? Speeding, top answer, well done. Loss of control or incorrect direction, technically, you're right. So, who is involved in the most accidents? I don't want to split the group here, but out of the male and female, who do we... There's a very silent shout of females at the back. You've got a death wish, haven't you? Blimey. So who do you think, males or females? Right. A lot of brave people in this tent today. 81% of car case fatalities among 18 to 24 are males. So it is quite shocking really, and hopefully the skills and things you learn today will help you avoid being one of those percentages, okay? So do bear that in mind. So what are you going to do today? I don't want to take anything away from the activities or the trainers, so I'll just quickly go over what you're doing. So 4 activities. One of them is oversteer and understeer, how to control a loss of control, and what to do if your car slides out. Speed and braking, so looking at different braking distances at certain speeds. Distractions, who here texts and drives? Nobody. It always goes quiet, I promise you we're going to find out. Reaction times, simulation suits and virtual reality. We've got a bit of a theme for this year, and that is sharing the road. There are 250 million cyclists in Europe, yet safety is still a major concern to major cities. In 2019, we want to help you, the road users, get comfortable driving around cyclists. Who, just out of interest, is a cyclist in this room? Well, a lot of you. And how do you feel about driving on the cycling on the road? No. No? Why is that? Yeah? Dangerous? Yeah? Absolutely. So we've got a few things that will help you as road users go around cyclists and be aware of what they go through. So one of them is safe passing distances, Dutch reach, blind spots, and we've also got a wheel swap virtual reality. A couple of house rules before we get going. We do actually want you to use your phones in this event, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Smoking, vaping is permitted as long as it's not actually in the marquees itself, and free tea and coffee, happy days, is available throughout the afternoon. Toilets are just behind the marquee here, feel free to use them during the afternoon. And yeah, back onto the phones. We want you to use your phones through activities. Using the hashtag #FordDSFL. Don't worry if you forget it, it's on the back of my jumper. Sorry?
What if we don't use Instagram?
I'll tell you why in a minute. Using the hashtag #FordDSFL, you can use Twitter and Facebook as well.
I don't use Twitter. Facebook sometimes.
I don't want to suggest it. I'm sorry. I don't suggest. Obviously, Ford UK are big on social media, so if you can use the hashtag #FordDSFL at Ford UK to take many pictures as possible and get the word out there. We are actually running a competition, and I'm sorry in advance, on Instagram.
No way, I'm gonna make an account now.
On Instagram, and we want you to take pictures, videos, boomerangs, whatever, and we'll pick the best type of photo, video, whatever it is. But there is a catch. We need to make sure your profile is public so that we can see it, and we want you to do that during the afternoon. Okay, and we'll probably pick a winner either at the end of the day, or we get in contact with the winner throughout the week. Okay, but please make sure that your profile is public. And what do you win? You win £50 gift voucher for Trafford Centre across the road. You know, well, you can win it and then go across and buy some trainers or something. Happy days. Perfect. Okay, so about the instructors itself, my background is racing, but we've got loads of experienced instructors out the back, so please do pick their brains and their knowledge and take as much out of the day as possible. In the event of emergency, please contact anyone in a red jacket. If you need to leave the site, please let one of the girls in registration desk know that you're leaving. And at the end of activities, please do wait around here. I'll do a quick evaluation and a debrief before you get on your way. So hopefully you've been given a colour wristband, is that true? If you're not, please stay behind. It's important that you remain in your groups throughout the activities. There's only 4, so please stay in that activity until you get rotated around, and your instructors will lead you away to the next activities and so on. The session will finish about 5:30, 6 o'clock. We'll come back here, do a 5 and 10 debrief how you thought the afternoon went, and I'll send you on your way. And enjoy your bank holiday. So that's enough for me. Should we get some driving? Hopefully you've got one of the following colour wristbands on. Is that true? Yeah? Cool. The guys at the back, you've got... Hello? Hello? Have you got any of the colour wristbands on the TV? Yeah? Perfect. So, red wristbands, you want to put your hand up for me? And if you want to follow Darren at the back there, with me starting on vehicle handling. Green wristbands. That's good. If you want to follow Marie on speed awareness, she's at the back also. And purple wristbands. Yep. If you want to follow David on distraction, David's over there.
Over there. Everyone's been distracted. That's how easy it is to distract somebody. You're driving along, somebody turns around and says, "Oh, look at that out the window." Oh yeah, and straight up somebody's backside. It can easily happen. What else can distract us? Phones. Phone.
Okay.
Or you're playing music, you're changing your channel, whatever. You're not concentrating on what's going on outside, and it only takes a second. Something happens. If you're going down the motorway 70 miles an hour, you're about to change your tunes. By the time you look up, you've hit somebody on the backside because there's a big queue of traffic. Easily done. So, we have a couple of cars out there. So we're going to split you up, so 3 at a time in the cars. The first time round, you're going to go, basically, just follow the code round. Nice and easy. You won't have any distractions. The second time round, we might be throwing in a few distractions. We might be getting you to maybe text your mum, saying, "Hi mum, guess what, I'm driving." See how that goes down when you get home. Or you might want to phone your friend, or you might take a selfie. Plus you might be using 1 or 2 of the controls, being told to switch the radio on, do whatever. Now, fortunately we're in a car park, so you can legally use your phone. Does anybody know what you get if you do get caught on the roads? License. How many people here have had a driving license for less than 2 years? Well, you guys will get banned from driving, and then after that try and get insurance. Plus the fact that if you get 6 points on your license, you've got to tell your insurance anyway, otherwise officially you're not insured. And more people are scared of that than the points. Anyway, so first time we'll drive round, no distractions. Second time we'll drive round with distractions. Now, if the instructors in the car say something like, "I want you to switch the radio on, do whatever you've got to do it," okay? That is part of this. You are supposed to be doing it, yeah? Don't just turn around and say, "No, because I wouldn't do that. No, because I wouldn't do it. No, because I wouldn't do that." It doesn't work, okay? So, because not everybody can fit in the car at the same time, because that would be a distraction, very cosy. The rest of you will be doing our models. Up here we have a hangover suit. Anybody in a hangover? Look at that! We've got a bunch of lights here. Okay, we've got nobody who's ever had a hangover. Oh, there's an honest one. We've got a drug suit. I won't ask that one. We've also got my personal favourite, beer goggles. You put them on and everybody looks beautiful. Take them off and you see reality. So, with these on, best thing to do is just try walking in a straight line. If you can do that, we've got a nice football out there. We've got any footballers here? No? I would take any footballer on if he's wearing these, and I've got 2 left legs, I can't keep the ball saving my life, but I would still take you on if you're wearing these. I'll take you on, no worries. But there's a little sort of nets at the back that you can kick your football up against. Try it with goggles, try it without goggles, you'll see a big difference. We've also got VR, wherever that is. Anyway,
They are around, yeah.
we've got a VR, we've virtual reality. It's. Are there any cyclists here? Yeah. Well, this gives you a perspective of the cyclist, basically. What the cyclists, where basically you'll get cut up, overtaken by examples of poor driving. You also get an opportunity to do the you also get an opportunity to see it from the driver's perspective. Don't think they actually hit any bikes, but they're not far off. Right. Finally, we've got
Yeah, we're going to have a new section which is called Share the Road. All that's going to do is basically introduce new forms of behaviour. So introduce a thing called Dutch Reach and also safe passing on the road with a bike or car. And we'll show that to you and get across.
Okay, so the emphasis on this is having fun. We want you to enjoy it, we want you to have a laugh. But there is a serious side to it. I mean, 5 people a day in the UK are dying on the UK roads. And usually that is, I think it's 93% is due to driver error. And a lot of that is either hungover, still under the influence of alcohol, under the influence of drugs, or, as we're doing, distraction. Sorry? Oh, speed, of course, yes, but don't worry about it, we're not going to be getting over sort of 10 miles an hour. Does anybody have an objection to driving an automatic vehicle? Sorry, the guy at the back, he's working with us again. Okay, you may never have driven an automatic, because we've got one manual, one automatic. If you absolutely insist on the manual, it's not a problem. You may want to try an automatic. If you haven't driven an automatic before, best thing to do is you chop your left leg off before you get into the car, because what you tend to do is when you stop you want to put the clutch in. You put the clutch right to the bottom and unfortunately you find out that that's actually the brake. So you're slamming on the brake, and I like my nose where it is, I don't like it at the back of my head. So you've got to make sure your left leg is kept right out of the way. Okay? Right, shall we... is there any natural groups of 3 here, or are you... Is there a 3? Are there any people who have come here on their own? Oh, right, okay, so...
Any ones?
I'll take
2, 3.
Right, so the rest of you, that's just 2 cars going, isn't it? Yeah. So if you want to come over to the
You're all
share
going to go in the car.
Yeah, share the path. We'll start there, and you can see from there.
Okay.
So, yeah. You got a good one to post? Get that posted on whatever you're posting it on.
Change how fast it does before. Patrick.
Should try the...
Did I do it? The weight on your legs look very nice though.
And what was it? And this module is called Share the Road. Okay. Now, does anyone know how many bikes are on the road?
68 million?
Hmm?
68
You're
million?
good, you're numbers. No, actually, in fact, it's your first answer, 250 million. So in actual fact, there's an equal number, more or less, give or take 50 million or so, of bikes and cars. And what that says to me is the responsibility is actually equal. You know, would I be right in saying that a lot of people see bikes as a bit of an irritant? That is the attitude, and whether it's right or wrong, but it's reality. And they're actually told these days to actually drive in twos, mainly so that we can actually identify them as a vehicle. That makes some sense. So, as I say, the responsibility is shared for mutual respect. the biggest number of incidents related to bikes actually involving car doors. Okay, that is, and I only found that out yesterday. I didn't know that as a statistical fact. So what we're going to try and do is show you something that hopefully in the future, in fact some of the instructors have actually asked you to do it, is a thing called the Dutch reach. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take three people from the end here. So I'll take you, you and you. You get into the car and I'll try to demonstrate the difference in the behaviour and how it can possibly reduce. In the driver, yeah, it's fine. You go on the other side. Try and think of this as a real life scenario, okay? So this is not a test in any shape or form, it's just an idea of it. For example, it's Sunday morning, you've been out late, or you're studying, you're partying or whatever, you want to get breakfast. You want to go to McDonald's, get breakfast as soon as possible, yeah? So you want to get it done, you want to get there as soon as you can. You've got the music on, talk about distraction again. You won't make your mind up what you want, he really wants you to decide, and you don't care, all right? So you're trying to get all this information. I'm talking about normal life. I've got 5 girls, and getting them to agree on anything is really, really tricky. So you get to the McDonald's, for example, and I want you to get out of the car. Remember, you've got all this going on. You want to get out of the car as normally as you normally would. Stop. All right. You've done very well. But the reality is, like me, and I'll be absolutely honest with you, see, it's a prototype. Oops. So the reality is that when I jump out of the car, what I'll do is I'll tend to look forward. I might look at the side of me because I damaged another car, but I'll probably just push the car door open, right? So now I'm going to try this Dutch reach. So get back in the car. Okay. Now, exactly the same thing. They still haven't decided what they want, by the way. Only use your left hand to get out of the car. Only your left hand. Yeah. Okay, go on. Yep. Now, stop there. Brilliant. With it right forward. Basically, by just taking that length of arm away. And also, you cannot get out of the car, I promise you, unless you're really odd, by twisting your head round like this. Your head will naturally fall around. That means you're going to be looking more or less in this angle. And what that means is simply that you might see the bike, you might not. The car door probably won't be as far open. And at the worst case scenario, if the car door is open and you have seen it, you can pull the car door back in again. And it just means when they decided to get their breakfast, you get your breakfast. This cyclist goes home to their family in one piece, and guess what? Your car doesn't get damaged. So it's a win for everyone. Okay, it's very, very straightforward. And I promise you, if you build, and it will be built into the I think when you're next on the track, I think one of those instructors, maybe even be Levi, where he's gone. One of them will actually ask you to always use the Dutch reach. And I think the instructors as well across the country are now going to introduce this. I don't think it'll become part of the test, but it'll be like a pattern. When you learn to drive, you know, it's like when I was told as a kid, remember I'm very, very old, not to hold the gear stick because it damages the gear. I don't think that's necessarily the truth in modern cars. An awful lot. So that behaviour may change the results of this statistic, which is where most bikes crash into the car doors. So stay in the car. So if you all go around the front of the car. I do like the sound of my own voice, by the way, but give it a pause. Can I ask you, to just take that bike. So we've done the Dutch reach. Please do try it, have a go of it if you get a chance, and then move on to other things. So we're now going to do share the road or safe passing. You take that bike and place it near the car where you think it's safe to go past the car. So normally, of course, the bike would be on that side, the car would be passing the bike. For this situation, the bike's passing the car. You think about there, yeah? Okay. So let's pop that on there. That's it, lovely. Does anyone know the safe distance the highway code say you should pass a vehicle at? 0.5, yeah. So let's just do this. By the way, this is not a test. It's not a criticism, no right or wrong. I'll explain why. So wing mirror, got to take that into account, of course. So basically, according to the highway code, you put yourself in a dangerous position there. You're not going to get past. The reality is, do we get that space on roads? We don't, do we? So our perception of what we think is safe and what actually is completely different. The reality is, this car, to get past that bike in a normal circumstance, would have to be over here. And that's the other side of the road, and probably a bus is coming down it. So the reality is, what would be the action, what would be the course of action to take in this situation? Will either the bike overtake and the car overtake the bike? What would be the course of action? What would you do?
Wouldn't you just like keep a safe distance until you've actually got a gap?
It's basically, this is stunning revelation for you. Stunning. I can make the exciting possible and wait. It's really as simple as that. It's wait. The other thing you can do to add to, and the instruction will tell you this, is leave home. Oh, it sounds so dull, but it's so true. 5 or 10 minutes earlier. 5 or 10 minutes earlier takes the stress out of the drive. If you are stuck behind a bike or a bike stuck behind you or whatever, you're not going to be uptight, and we all get there. We all do it. And the reality is that will actually reduce the number of incidents with bikes. So it's about the segment's called share the road. It's actually share the available space. I don't know about you. I live not far from London, about 50 miles. I have to go in there from time to time. When you go in there, you've got bike lanes which are only about that wide, often potholes in. You've got roads where you can only take a bus down, or you can only go down through certain times. All these things, all this information, and you've got to try and get past each other. It's not possible. So it's about literally backing off, taking time, waiting, and sharing the road, sharing the available space. In the event of a crash with a car and a bike, who do you think we feel is most responsible?
Car.
Who do you think comes off worse?
Bike.
Exactly. So no one feels good about it, and often our perception and our assumptions are wrong. It's because 600 million vehicles on the European roads, half of them are bikes, half of them are cars, equally responsible. It's about just showing a bit of respect at a time. By the way, it sounds like I'm lecturing at you, mainly because I have to shout because of the breeze, what have you. But I just want to say something very, very important to you. When I was growing up and passed my test at around your age, those days we often didn't put our seatbelts on at all. At all. Babies didn't have baby seats, okay? And it was very common, I promise you, to jump in the car after a drink, okay? Are any of those things socially acceptable today? You wouldn't even think about it. And if you do it, you feel rubbish. You know you've done wrong. So what I'm saying to you is, when it comes to passing a car or this sort of a situation, it's about taking that time, and things become socially unacceptable. When they become socially acceptable, that's when they change, and that's why those things have been introduced. Because a lot of people talk about young drivers, you probably get this all the time, being bad. That is rubbish. What we found out from these courses is, one, you are on top of the game. Your information is absolutely fantastic, and your attitude is superb. It's just unfortunate that you have to listen to people like me to tell you that. So hats off to you all. Try and introduce those things, and you have a safer, happier journey, and obviously incidents will go down. Thank you very much indeed. All right. Or you go on the bike, or going into the put the drug suits on and try those, yeah?
Ja, då är det precis va? Ja, då är det precis va?
Yeah, well, yeah.
No distractions. All you need is your clutch in, and you can press that button to start the engine.
My mum had a car like this and it made a mess all the time. I couldn't start it.
Into first gear. When you're ready, off you go. Don't forget your handbrake. You're thinking about the start. Stop. That's what it is. Off you go. I'd just stay in first.
Yeah, yeah. Look at all those baby cars.
I know.
You're cute.
We charge £10 a baby cone. We charge £5 for the big cones. If you get a family of 4, it's £50.
What, that you get or that you have to pay?
That you have to pay. You owe me a fortune. Okay, if you pull up behind. So, if you'd like to get your phone out.
Can I do that?
Sorry?
Oh, I was asking my boyfriend if he had my phone.
So, I think what you need to do is maybe, as we're going round, we need a selfie, don't we, really? We want to, now don't get it all set up, ready to go. That's cheating. You've got to get it ready to go. So, we'll wait for this car to get a little bit of a way round first. Don't go setting it up. I can see you cheating.
I don't even know where my camera is on my phone.
Excellent. That's it makes it even better. Right. So when you're ready, and we've got to do it at the same speed as you did it last time. Okay, off you go. Right. So where's this selfie? Where's this selfie? Come on. Oh, you. What'd you do with that phone? Okay. Come on. We want some music. We wanted some music.
Well.
That's not music.
I think I have.
That's old man's. That's old man radio. That's the.
Well, no.
Come on.
Don't get me started on that.
Watch the cone. Kill the baby cone.
Very, very soon.
No.
There's some Ned's
The
atomic
mother
dustbin.
cone's gonna get
This
you.
is an
The
hard
mother
one.
cone's gonna
Kill
get
the
you.
television.
Okay. Oh, hey, this is more like, isn't it? Oh no! Emergency stop! Emergency stop! And there's more that side. Oh no! This is disaster. Disaster. Okay, and if you pull up on the right-hand side.
Oh, that was hard, that.
It was hard, wasn't it? Now, if you think about the speed, if you just stop for a second. Absolutely. And not just weaving around cones, but if you're doing 70 miles an hour, and this actually happened to me, where I was doing 70 miles an hour going down the, it was night time, and randomly a car stationary in the middle of my lane
What?
with no lights on, because somebody had broken down
Oh, okay.
and just got out of their car. So all I had to be doing
And
was
they didn't put no hazards on.
they
or...
didn't put any lights, no hazards, nothing. If they'd left you just, or leaving it just like that, had I been changing channel, had I been messing about with my phone, I would have been straight up the backside of that car. So it's really important. I mean, with the technology, you know how to use the technology. And phones, just leave them in the glove compartment. Okay, right, we're going to swap over again. Car anyway, off you go. Okay, if we just stop behind the blue car. Marvellous. Now, nice and easy?
Nice and easy.
Nice and easy. Okay, it's not going to be next time. One thing I noticed you do, a lot of this farm driving like that. Not an issue, but what could happen if you're going like that all the time? What's the problem with doing that?
You don't have much control.
You don't have as much control over the wheel, absolutely. What's underneath the wheel, under here, down here?
Airbag.
An airbag. What speed does an airbag come out at? Between 150 and 200 miles an hour, which effectively means if you're like that and the airbag goes off, you're punching yourself in the face 50 miles an hour. Now, personally, I think you prefer your nose on the front of your face.
Yeah, not
But
the back.
you do what you like. You drive how you like. You know, I'm not telling you anything.
Hands on
Okay,
either side
let's
of
just
that
move
wheel.
forward.
Well, yeah, last time I checked, Casio printed on your forehead weren't in fashion.
Yeah. Okay, so this time, what you're going to do, I assume this is your good lady in the back here, isn't it? You're going to ring her up and have a conversation.
Yeah, we're going to have a conversation.
Yeah, you're going to say, hey babe, how you doing?
Okay.
We'll let them get off first.
Come on, no, you're not allowed to get
No,
it set up. What are you
you've got
doing?
off- because you're just driving along and it's just sat there.
Can you use Siri?
Okay, are we ready?
That's not as bad then, is it?
Off we go. Okay, so.
Hey Siri, call Tim.
Ah, clever man. Well done. Let's say, can we
Hey,
have some?
Siri.
Hey, we want some music. Can we want some music? Oh, come
Hey,
on.
Siri.
Let's have
Please,
some
Siri.
music.
Hi,
Music.
Siri.
I don't hear any music.
Siri.
Music. Ah, I'm scared.
Hey
Stop
Siri!
before someone's doing wee. Come on. Wait, this is too loud. This is too loud.
Oh dear.
Oh, I can't hear you.
Hey Siri, call Tim.
Okay, I'm stopped. On the left-hand side. So have we called anyone?
Guess Siri didn't hear you over all of that
I guess
noise.
Siri didn't want to work.
Now you see what you should. If he'd have got through to you, the best thing you could have said is, "Hey babe, I'm pregnant. Watch him crash."
That's not funny.
Oh, it is.
That is not.
I actually had somebody a woman turn around, and she halfway around she turned around to her husband and said, "I want a divorce."
Did she mean it?
I don't think so, but he nearly crashed. But did you take something from that? I mean, how difficult is that?
Yeah, you were shouting in my ear. And Siri wasn't answering.
No. But the thing is, reality is, Friday, Saturday night, you're going out, you might be the designated driver, you've got 3 drunken people in your car, and they're all messing about, and they're poking your horn, and that's, in reality, that happens. I know it happens. I've seen it happen. And it doesn't take much, especially on Friday and Saturday night, because you're going to have drunken people out on the roads. So if somebody just falls out in front of you, and you're not concentrating on what happens, what's going to happen?
Something bad's going to happen.
Absolutely. Okay, right, if you want to switch the engine off for me, please. Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, I did it look good.
Excellent.
Thank you.
That's what Facebook is. We're going to use this just to show you a few things, why to check them, and also what we're looking at in terms of saving money and being as safe as we possibly can. So we're going to use the Mustang for that. Hopefully you've noticed the truck, otherwise you really do need to go to Specsavers. And we're going to get up close and personal with the truck, and basically look at the truck in terms of the things that we need to look for in terms of making sure we're as safe as possible when we're sharing the road, whether it's on 2 wheels or 4 wheels, but when we're sharing the road with the trucks. They can see an awful lot, but there's an awful lot they can't see as well. Behind you over there is the Cougar, not the animal, the actual car, and we're going to use that at the end when we've done these 2 things. If you want to take pictures with the Mustang, that's absolutely fine, but if you could leave it to the end so we can get around everything, and there's more than enough time, and have at least 10 minutes at the end where you can take pictures with your new car. It's yours. So we'll do that at the end, and also the city stop, I'll be driving the car and I'll take it off 2 to 3, so whatever we do, and basically just demonstrate how the city stop system works. Again, a lot of today is about technology. It's about technology in terms of what's there to help you and how it helps you. Yeah? Especially when you go on to the next rotation, the next exercise, that's looking at how to control a car and a skid. Technology in terms of safety runs through the whole session this afternoon. So who runs a car? Yeah, a lot of hands going up there. Who regularly checks their car? Not quite so many hands, but nearly enough. When I say regularly, how often are you checking your cars out? Once a month?
What do you mean by checking? Like oil and stuff?
Oil and stuff, yeah, that's a good way of putting it. We would say roughly once a week. But yeah, I mean, if you're doing it once a week, that should be enough anyway. Like, it doesn't really make any difference whether you're doing short journeys or long journeys. Basically, if there's a problem, then you should have, it would have manifested itself before then anyway. Some of us here are doing like 40,000 miles a year, so because we're driving to Manchester and then we're going somewhere else and we're going somewhere else, and then we're all over the place. A lot of us here today are advanced driving instructors or tutors, consultants, so we all have different names. Usually if you call a consultant, you say, well, we need to be paid more because we're consultants now, we're not but they don't always pay us. But basically, we would always check a vehicle over that we're going to get into. Now apparently, I've had a phone call at lunchtime from a neighbour of mine saying that I've got a hire car parked outside my house, which is in the way. There's nothing I can do about it. I didn't know I was getting it. It's for a job on Tuesday, but it's outside my house. I will be checking that car, probably not today now, because it'll be quite late by the time I get back, but in the daylight tomorrow, because I've got a day off, I will be checking the car. And what we do, we love these words in our industry, having words, and each of the first letters represents another word. We love that sort of thing. And the system that we use for checking the car over, the safety check if you like, is the powder check. When we turn up and there's a few trainers there and there's a few cars, we say, right, who's doing the powder checks? Right, you do the powder checks and we're going for somewhere else and organise the appliance or whatever. So it's POWDER. Now, none of the words, obviously we've got a word that begins with P, word with O, word with W, etc. No, none of these are rude words, they're just straightforward words. well, we could have rude words, but basically, what do we think the word beginning with P is? Okay, so let's the rest of the audience. Nope. Petrol. Well, yeah, don't put petrol in a diesel, please don't do that, because that's not going to end well. That's going to be quite expensive because you have to have it pumped out, probably new filters, that sort of thing. Basically, P word is power. That's what it's same thing. Yeah, we used to call it petrol because there used to be more petrol cars. Now they're sort of diesels, and now they go away with something else. But basically, have we got enough power? So it's an electric vehicle. Have we got enough charge to do the journey that we want to do? People say, well, how's that? You know, how can that relate to safety? Well, cars never break down, whether it's fuel or broken gearbox or whatever it is. They never do it in a convenient place, and very often don't do it in a safe place either. So you need to make sure that actually you've got enough fuel not to break down, and of course then you've got to call somebody out unless there's a petrol station nearby, and of course it all gets quite expensive because you've got to pay for that in some way or another. So yeah, we need enough fuel. I mean, my partner, bless her, we share a car, other cars as well, but a car that we share. When I get into it, and I got into it Friday to drive up here, got into it, started it up, and realised that on the fuel gauge, which is actually E and F on there, so empty and full, it was on the E. So I went back inside. I said, "Come on, got any fuel in?" And you know, we have this, well, sort of a joke. I thought it was funny. You know, E doesn't mean enough. It means, you know, it means empty. Oh, it's got some in it. Yeah, well, I'm going 300 miles. I haven't got enough. So basically, always make sure you've got fuel in there. So it's a statement of the bleeding obvious, but when it stutters and stops, that's when you run out. What's the O word stand for? Oil. Oil, yeah, the brown slippery stuff. How do we know what sort of oil we need to put in a car?
The dipstick.
Well, not all cars. This car doesn't have a dipstick. There's a lot of cars that don't have. One of my cars, I've got two. That doesn't have a dipstick either. It's all done on the dashboard. Very, very simple. You just go into about 32 different menus and scroll through them all, and eventually, sorry, I'm old school. Just give me a dipstick I can look at. Mostly though now with cars, it's coming quite quietly and nobody's made much of a fuss about it, but a lot of the cars now, you should be checking the oil level when it's been running, not when it's cold. It will say which you should do, in the handbook, because everybody's read the handbook, haven't they? Of course they have. If all else fails, read instructions, that's my motto. But yeah, even cars with dipsticks now, a lot of them are saying, especially Mercedes, that sort of thing, are saying check it when it's been running, not when it's cold. So let's say we look at this and the level is quite low, it's just over the minimum. Shouldn't be. Where's the oil going? You shouldn't really use any oil between services really much at all. Perhaps a little bit when it's new, especially a diesel engine. But basically it shouldn't be using much oil. So if it is low, why is it low? That's the first question. But yes, we've got to put a bit of oil in it. So how much oil are you going to put in something like a 5 litre V8 engine, quite a big engine? How much oil are you going to put in to make sure you've got enough oil? Quarter of a litre between minimum and maximum, or low and high, whatever it's done. So we would always say quarter of a litre, third of a litre, something like that. Run it a little bit, perhaps that day, check it later on, or check it the next day or whatever, and see where it is. If it's gone down again, that's a warning that you've got a problem and you don't want to run out of oil. So what does the W word stand for?
Water.
Waters, yeah. There's two things that are sort of water-based that are in the engine. Do we know what those two things are? Yeah, coolant basically. Yeah, coolant, and what else? Screen wash. Yeah, and we do need to put something in the screen wash. You know, the additive stuff you can get in Halfords or petrol stations, that sort of stuff. For several reasons. One, it cuts through the dirt better, especially like the film you got on windscreens. It cuts through it much better. It also stops it freezing quite so much. It will still freeze at some point if it's very, very cold. But it does put that off a little bit. And also a few years ago, I was reminded of this by one of the other guys yesterday. I'd forgotten all about it, but there was a story sort of 3-4 years ago about people catching Legionnaire's disease from their cars, because the bottle is plastic, the water inside gets pretty stagnant if it hasn't got additive in it, and also it's always kind of tepid. The engine's been running, it's not hot, but it gets tepid, and apparently that's a very good breeding ground for Legionnaire's disease. So if you put the additive in, it will stop whatever they are, microbes or whatever. It will stop basically the Legionnaire's disease things developing, and therefore it will stop them coming into the car give you Legionnaire. I don't know if anybody's had Legionnaire's disease, but it's not very pleasant. So just a lot of things. It gets stagnant, and you it gets all bunged up basically. So that's the waters. D for damage. I will be checking the hire car for any scratches, dents, and that sort of thing, just to protect myself, because sometimes the hire people can get a bit naughty and ring you up and say you owe us £2,000 for the new door. I say, what new door? Well, the big dent that was in it. Well, I didn't dent it. So I take pictures, and that solves that. But mainly on the powder check, what we're checking for is making sure that the vehicle is roadworthy, any sharp edges, anything hanging off, any broken number plates, broken lights, cracked rear lenses, that sort of thing. Anything that contravenes the construction and use regulations, can't speak, because that makes the car unroadworthy. So you have to be careful about that. So what else are we looking for? Well, E for electrics. That's mainly lights. We need to make sure all the lights are working. If the lights aren't working, you're much more likely, especially at night, if you're travelling sort of after midnight, your lights aren't quite right, you're much more likely to get stopped by the police than if it's obviously during the daytime. Faulty lights are one of the biggest reasons why people get stopped. All they need to see is a headlight that's gone, or there's a flickering light, or they're different intensity at the back. They don't like it, they will stop you. And if you're young, especially a young male, you probably end up being breathalyzed. If you don't smell a drink, you're probably drug tested anyway. So it's just something we could do without, and just checking the lights very briefly by switching them all on and walking around will save you all that heartache. I mean, technically they could give you a ticket. They don't normally, they give you a warning telling you you've got to get it fixed within 7 days. But you need to be aware of that, and the only way you're going to be aware of it is getting out and looking, because you don't always know which lights are working and which ones aren't. Even a car like this, I suppose it's worth about 42 grand, something like that. Still lights are going to go, things are going to go wrong with the lights, and you have to check. No matter what the car is, it's still got bulbs, and bulbs do go every now and then, or there's a problem with it. R for, last letter, what does the R stand for? Sorry. Nope. They're black and round, and there's 4 of them. Rubber. Yeah, rubber. Tyres. R for tyres. I know it doesn't quite work that way, does it? But you can see where we're coming from. Powder is a very easy thing to remember, and it means, you check the fuel, right, you've done that, then we check the oil, and we do one thing at a time so you don't forget anything. R for rubber. So what's the legal limit for the tread depth on tyres? 1.6 millimetres where?
Across the outer, is it like the outer circumference?
No, it's actually the middle. It's the middle 3/4. I'm not quite sure how you measure the middle 3/4, but it's basically the bit that has most contact with the road.
Little bump in the tyre.
Yeah, we've got little bumps in the tyre.
Because how does everyone know the figures? I never learned this when learning to drive.
Where my finger is, my middle finger, there's like a little ridge between the tread. It goes right across. If the tyre is level with that ridge, because that ridge is set at 2 mil, if it's level with that ridge, then it means that the tyre needs to be replaced. 1.6 mil is very low, actually. It's not much more. 1.6 mil is tiny. And a car like this, if you drove this around on 1.6 mil in the wet, well, good luck with that, because it's going to be all over the place.
So would you not do you know when they say put a coin in it, see
It's the same thing. You don't need to do it, you can just look at the tread where ridges, and you can see them. You haven't got to start shoving your fingers in like me. You can just look at it and look at it from. It's either legal or it's not. You can see where it is. I mean, they start off at about 7 or 8. We would say on a car like this, when it gets down to 3, it really, it really needs replacing. Who likes buying tyres? Yeah, it's always one. Yeah, basically they are what the marketeers call a distress purchase. We don't really want to buy tyres. But let's say we've just bought a new car. It's a 3-year-old Fiesta. We paid about 12 grand for it. So what's the most expensive? Say you keep that car for 3 years. What's going to be the most expensive thing in terms of ownership? You've got to look at ownership costs over the whole life of your ownership of the car.
Petrol.
Fuel, no, unless you're doing a really heavy mileage. No, fuel's not significant at all. Sorry?
Depreciation.
It's depreciation. Yeah, if you buy the car today and you pay 12 grand for it, you go and you buy it and they say, oh, it's a very popular colour, that green, it's lovely. And you say, yeah, I like that colour, I'll buy that. 3 years time you go back and they say, no, it's green, no, it's no good at all. So they'll only give you 6 grand for it. or 7 perhaps if you argue it, because you're going to buy something else from them. So in other words, it's cost you 5 or 6 grand over the 3 years. Well, tyres don't cost you that. So that's what you're going to look out for. Tyres, in terms of the lifestyle, you know, my car's quite a sporty car, but the front tyres last normally about 20,000 and the back tyres around 60 odd, because there's no weight on the back, so it's quite a light car. So over that time, you know, the cost of the tyres is not much at all. With us, you know, you go into a tyre place and you say, right, I need a new tyre, and they say, well, what do you want? Do you want budget ones? Do you want medium type tyres, or do you want premium? Oh no, we wouldn't get part one because you know where they've been. We would always go for the premium because they last longer, you get better MPG out of them, and also they tend to have much more grip, and they're just better performance. They're just better performance. If you go into a tyre place and you say, right, I want whatever type of tyre you want, it's for my Fiesta, how much is that? And they go back and they come back and say 70 quid. And you say, okay, well, how much if I buy 2 if you need to? You never tell them you want 2, you say 1 first, then you say 2, and they say, well, it's 2 times 70, what do you think? It's 140. You say, no, I'm not paying that. You just say that, you just say, no, I don't want to pay that, I want to pay less than that. And you'll get it down, and you just go to another, go in and face to face, and I just bought some tyres. My tyres are very expensive on my car, and I went into Quick Fit just for a laugh because they're always very expensive, and I said, how much for one of those? And he looked at it and went, well, that'd be £308 for that. And I went, yeah, a lot of fun. Yeah,
One tyre?
One tyre. But they are expensive because they're N-rated tyres, because the top speed's very high, so you can have N-rated tyres on them, which is the most expensive tyres, of course. So I bought 4 tyres for £750 in the end from another place. So, you know, they were less than half the price. And they will do that, they will drop it. So we would say always go for premium because you're going to get much better grip. Remember, you know, 4 of my hands, that's all the grip you got on the road. It's not a lot. People don't like buying tyres, but tyres and brakes are absolutely essential for road safety. People spend quite a lot of money on cars, but they don't want to buy tyres. You know, it's all round the wrong way. So I don't know where all the screws come from that end up in tyres, because we get it quite a lot, the cars and vans and things that we drive. Because obviously any bulge is broken the carcass behind the rubber. So the tyre will stay up, but it's lost all its strength. Or ridges, you get ridges as well if people hit a curve or hit a train or something like that. So nice 5 litre V8. You can't see a lot of it because obviously there's a lot of plastic in there, like a lot of engines. So we've got a few things to check here, but just very briefly, that everything's labelled. Everything, you know, does what it says on the lid. So where would we put the coolant? Which one's the coolant? Yeah, because it's got like a hot radiator sign on the top there. Again, the level is about right on this. It should be level near enough where the join is. You've got a minimum sign and a maximum sign, and so you know you have to be aware of where the level is. It shouldn't need topping up during between services. If it does need topping up a little bit, because my car, you know, the service intervals is 20,000 miles, so every so often you have to put a little bit in because that's a couple of years on that car. But you must always use the same colour antifreeze. There's all sorts of colours out there. There's green, there's blue, there's what I call babysit colour, which is sort of like a beige colour. But that one with the pink one, you've got to put the pink stuff in, basically. Get the ready mix stuff because you shouldn't need a lot of it. It's much more expensive, but you don't have to bother about mixing it all up with water and all the rest of it. You can just get some and put it in. Again, Halford's website or anybody like that, if you're not sure which one, or you're not sure what the colour is, because sometimes the colour goes off a little bit, or just put in your registration and it tells you which antifreeze to buy. It's as simple as that. But the reason we're checking, like the reason we're checking the oil, is that we're looking for problems and try and nip those problems in the bud. If it's using coolant, there's only 2 things that can be wrong, really, which is there's a leak, it's leaking out somewhere, probably under pressure when it's driving along, or the head gasket's going. If the head gasket goes, that is expensive. But a head gasket is a hell of a lot cheaper than a new engine, because if you leave it, at the end of the day, the engine will get cooked, as they call it, which is basically it'll overheat, and you'll end up having to either scrap the car or scrap the engine, and that's far more expensive than a few £100, but hundreds of pounds. Also, a telltale sign of head gasket, you get sludge in there. It's got like sludgy, horrible stuff, which is why you can open those up so you can clean them all out and clean the system. But basically, you know, unfortunately, a head gasket is not something you can ignore. It's going to have to be done. So where would we put the stuff for the windscreen wash? Yeah, it's right next to it. Again, it's got a sign on there with the windscreen and some water being squirted at it. So that's obviously the windscreen wash. Could be in different places. My one is actually it is a Ford. Is over there. That's over there. They're all in different places, but they all look the same and they all have labels. And the other main one is the brake fluid. So where would we put the brake fluid? Yeah, it's a sign. It's the one with the sign for the brakes on there, which is the one in the corner there. As I say, everything is labelled under there, and it should be really very clear as to what goes where. You should be able to lift the bonnet and sort of work it out quite quickly. You haven't got to be an engineer to work it out. This hasn't got a dipstick. Some cars still have a power steering reservoir, like a big thing, but this is all electronic, so there's not even that either. So it really doesn't take long at all. And when you're doing your outside checks, you only got to walk around it once. So you just turn all the lights on, walk around it. You can check the tyres, check for damage as you go round, and you can just walk around. Quite a big car, but it doesn't take long to walk around it looking at it. So the whole thing with the putting up the bonnet should only take sort of 3 or 4 minutes. And I say you just do things in order and you shouldn't miss anything. So that's the powder system. Obviously with the tyres as well, I didn't mention, just make sure they've got enough air in them. Again, it's very easy to check on websites, and in garages very often they have the list on the wall. But it should be on the door pillar as well. On the driver's door pillar, will tell you what tyres is. And you should, you know, when you look at your tyres, you can kind of quickly work out whether if they look a bit flat, then they probably are. Best to check them when the car's not been running, because obviously if the car's been running on the road, the tyres will be quite warm, and so the pressure will be higher. You know, in my car, when you get it out of the garage, it says they're 32. By the time you finish the journey, it's a motorway or something, they're about 36, 37. It goes up quite a lot. I'm obsessed with that gauge now. I never knew I needed one, but I love it. And the tyres change temperature as well while you're driving along. But they are very sad. Very sad. Okay, so there's no questions about that. As I say, loads of time at the end. We can take pictures if you want to sit in the Mustang and pretend it's your new car. That's absolutely fine. As I say, it's my third car, so that'll be nice. So what we do now, we walk over to the truck. Just to appreciate basically the situation. What could be the heaviest this truck could be when it's fully loaded? So you've got all your stuff, your Yorkie bars, yourself. What's the travelling weight do you reckon that could be, maximum? Sorry? It's actually 40 this one, but it could be 40, 44 if it's reflated. The point we're making, we're not getting into a long argument, semantics about trucks, but basically this potentially is 40 times heavier than the car going around on the skid control over there. So it's a bit like wrestling with an elephant, isn't it, really? It's not going to be a fair fight. I did come across an accident a few years back now, before I did all this sort of thing. Truck driver was driving along, minding his own business, a sort of truck this sort of size, on a punchy road, and someone was coming towards him trying to overtake something. And basically they had a head-on. The truck was very badly damaged, but the car, which is quite a small car, which it was a Mini, a new one, not one of the classic Minis, Mini, hit this hit the truck apparently about 41 miles an hour, 41, 42 miles an hour, which is not that high when you think about country roads and how fast we go on country roads. All you could see of the car was about 18 inches of it here, which is the back bumper and the back tailgate. Everything else is underneath the truck. Because it's so heavy, basically it hits it, it goes underneath and then just squashes it. Now that's why people ask quite a few times, why is the front of that truck so low? Well, that's the reason. It's trying to stop things going underneath. You look at older trucks, like this one was, giving you back, and they're much higher at the front. And that's much more dangerous than something with nosedive or submarine, whatever you want to call it, underneath. Any truck drivers here? Driven them, but I haven't got a licence for them. Let's move around here then. Well, I haven't hit anybody in the face just yet. There's only one more group after this, so there's still time. Yeah, don't speak too soon. Health and safety, always health and safety. So what I want to do, as many people that want to, I'm going to do it. We'll all have a go at getting in and out, as many people that want to. Basically, health and safety, we need one hand on here, one hand on there, and 2 feet on there. And when you come out, please come out backwards. We don't want you coming out forwards, because you'll get to this step and realise there's nowhere for your feet to go, and you'll end up jumping. And someone said, oh, well, it'll be all right, you can catch me. No, I'm tired now, it's been a long weekend. So if you jump out, you're on your own. But basically, health and safety, it doesn't feel very natural when you're in there and you have to turn around, but once you start coming out, it's as natural as anything. It looks like quite a climb. It is quite a climb, it's quite high up, but it's actually quite straightforward. So, who's going to be a trucker? Let's just close the door for a second. Okay, I'm looking for a volunteer. You look like a volunteer. Without looking in any of your mirrors, how much of your friend can you see standing up front there? What friend, he says. Okay, so 2 steps further forward. Johnny knows that. So how much of our friend can you see now? Probably just his head. Yeah, just his head. Another 2 steps further forward. That's cheating. So probably head and shoulders. Yeah, 2 steps further forward. Probably half of them. Yeah, keep going forward. A bit more. Probably all of it now. Yeah. So without sort of this is all dead area up here. You know, it's an area where if you overtake the bike or the lady that's climbing the front, the bike's on the left hand side, you won't be looking or cutting over here. And at the front, you cut in, they've got no idea you're there. No idea. You don't really want to get squashed. Okay, so you come out backwards. Excellent. 4 days to get there. So again, expecting there, you've got all sorts of things in there. What you got? Not quite this probably, you know. That's the big one. Great stuff. You want to come out backwards. Okay. Also, you can see that you can change the number plate, which the number plate refers to the tractor unit, not necessarily to the trailer. So you can tell that when you come out, you're going to come out with something that's actually, sort of so you need to be very careful, and to be able to see both mirrors, you need to be right back there somewhere. Probably the second line of cones. No, it's going to be right. See this first line of cones, not those. The next ones. You're going to have to be right back there before you can see both mirrors. And as you probably heard the saying, if you can't see my mirrors, I can't see you. But that's absolutely true, and of course they can't see you, they don't know what you're going to do next. So hopefully that's given you a few thoughts about trucks, and about how to avoid them, and how to share the road with them. We've got a few minutes left, so if anyone wants to take pictures of the Mustang, please let yourself.
Do you?
If you want to come with me in threes, I'll just quickly show you the city stop, what do you call it, device, thingy.